Aloha! Aloha, everybody. Great to see everybody. Beautiful Maui Boo. Today I want to talk just with you guys directly, answer any questions, do a little bit of an AMA. Think about it as your educational seminar, so to speak, that I'm doing absolutely for free to explain and talk about some future and upcoming trends that are going to be absolutely massive, specifically in the real estate space with fractional ownership, and how this whole new asset class is emerging. And it's a multi-billion-dollar asset class disruption. And it's honestly the biggest thing in the world, where all the principal technologists are moving full speed ahead into real estate right now. Okay, they're going to disrupt the real estate market, buying and selling homes like the internet disrupted our ability to communicate with people. Okay, this is the primary use case of blockchain and cryptocurrency technology, which is why it's so big. In fact, I went to brunch earlier today, and there's a major conference going on talking and diving into various topics like these I'm about to share with you. And there's literally hundreds of people here from all over the world. And of course, I've been attending conferences for years and have had the great pleasure speaking on stages. Of course, probably most notably, what I really enjoyed was going to Singapore several years ago, headlining Block Show as one of the speakers. And it's all these relationships and this knowledge that you build over time that ultimately becomes your greatest value center. And I always tell you guys this too. I mean, your knowledge is power, but more importantly than that, the execution of your knowledge is power. If you've got knowledge, but you don't do anything with it, that's just lame, and you're not gonna get ahead. So let's talk about, and I'm gonna talk about Island Project as well, what makes what we're doing in our project so absolutely unique, because it's never been done before. I have to say, of course, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Read our disclaimers and disclosures on our website, terms, etc. So the whole market, okay, this goes for various asset classes. Pretty much all asset classes, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be fractionalized and are being fractionalized now. Okay, real estate is going to be our primary focal point, but this is going to happen with stocks as well. This is going to happen with literally every single type of financial instrument that you can think of. So what is that going to do? Think about this from a fundamental level. What is this going to do in terms of providing liquidity to a market that never existed before? Okay, if you're bringing in a lot more capital all of a sudden, and you have instantaneous liquid transactions functioning on a blockchain, tokenized across various asset classes, what do you think that's going to do to pricing? Well, if there's more liquidity, supply and demand, as you learn Basic Economics 101, creates more cash flows, you're going to increase more demand of a limited supply asset that's basically going to transition us into an entirely new financial market and asset class. So this is really cool to think about on so many just various strategic levels. When I first learned about this, probably, 8 years ago, and I started thinking through the concept of blockchain and how transactions and liquidity markets would forever impact every area of our lives. So liquidity is the big thing, okay? Instead of having to say close in the future on a home sale on average 30 days and run through the traditional red tape and transactional costs, which we could probably agree are pretty exorbitant. Time, energy, middlemen, middle women, okay? And then there's this long, drawn out period of closing. What if you just got rid of all of that? And what if transactions were liquid, instantaneous, and you could buy and sell it at any moment to another qualified person, let's say. So that's like in essence on a very simplistic level, and I'm gonna go into more detail, hopefully with you guys today, of what's happening in asset markets. Now, I've used the example before of like an Airbnb, how they disrupted market with just basically vacation rentals. What we're doing is completely different. We're actually a legitimate portfolio asset class and an asset build that you own. Airbnb is just a rental service, but Airbnb is a good and cool example to use because number one, people understand it and they've used it before. Okay, and what Airbnb did is it took a bunch of homes that were sitting idle, that didn't have liquidity, that were available during a weekend, or maybe for a couple of weeks because it was a seasonal second or third or fourth home. And a lot of the wealthy own multiple homes. Their homes sit. Not everyone wants to rent those homes, but if you're smart as a businessman or woman, you'd probably rather generate some kind of income and set profits and have something, not do anything. So Airbnb is a great example of disrupting that marketplace. And in fact, the reason I use it as an example is Airbnb has helped propel home prices to new all-time highs. Okay, they've played a huge role, and other companies like it, VRBO as well, there's many companies throughout the world like this, have played a massive role, okay, in changing the landscape of how people operate, and from a cool perspective too, utilize an actual valuable asset. Because I always said for years, I'm like, man, there's all this low utility in the best real estate in the world. So how is what we're doing different, what I'm doing different as the founder, president of our company, Island Project, and our brokerage, Island Project Homes? How is what we're doing different? Well, imagine if you could own the best of breed asset class in the world that included a strategic portfolio of beach, oceanfront, mega retreats, upcountry land, ag land, food production, okay, a community, and all of it worked together where you owned it. Airbnb, you own nothing. You get nothing in return. It's money out of your pocket and it goes straight down the drain. Now, what we do isn't primarily use, although we do offer some of that based on our private members and group. And at the end of the day, we don't have many founders getting in. So the people that get in will obviously, have amazing access to property, experiences, private events, and then our technological blockchain incubator, which is I'm super stoked about, which is so exciting. So we started talking about liquidity, and I'll go to questions too. You can shout questions out as I'm going along, because sometimes I'm so far ahead, I'm speaking outside of some of the basic questions that you might have. So feel free to, ask any questions in the box below. I'll do my best to answer them today. So liquidity is a huge factor. Then you have real ownership that you never had the opportunity for in the world, to own something you could never ever touch as a small mom and pop. So, an average beachfront, oceanfront home, let's say is $15, $30 million or $10 million with a nice view. These are properties that appreciate at a higher rapidity, that have proven higher cash flows, that are a better store of value, and are much more micro-limited in supply than any of the other home market. So for example, we could see a slowdown in middle America, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 condos, say, or $200,000 homes, whatever the median price is in your area, and prices keep rising, okay, in this micro asset, which is Island Project, which I expect it to do. Obviously the last few years have been crazy because of the hyperinflationary tactics of the Federal Reserve and the policies of setting interest rates grossly, which I completely disagree with. I think this harms middle America and harms people. This is why I launched Island Project, to empower the little guy so you can actually get ahead. But help propel this huge, massive inflation, and then also technological disruption, which is also helped to move that forward as well. So you have liquidity, then you also have fractionalized ownership, which never existed before, of an asset you could never touch. So I always dumb it down, and I'll ask you the question, what do you think is gonna appreciate more? Some average run-of-the-mill $300,000 condo in middle America, or a $15 million direct beachfront where you can go walk on the beach, hang out right on the water in what I call Maui Boo? Well, obviously that should be a very easy question for you to answer. Maui Boo is obviously, in that particular property, is going to appreciate much more. Thirdly, diversification, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just one property. the portfolio of homes, and what I'm also doing for clients privately too. I have some private clients that are just extremely wealthy, and I'm building them out their own personal portfolios along with my team. They say, Christopher, buy me 5 homes, put it together, manage it, turnkey it. You guys run it. You have the expertise and contacts, etc., and the knowledge and the listings and all those private tools. Go ahead and do it for us. See, private investors do this for themselves. And this is what I want you to understand. Extremely wealthy people do what Island Project is doing for our members for themselves. Okay? So if you're very wealthy, you go buy homes around the world and you package it into a portfolio. You buy the best of breed asset class that you can. You hold it, and a lot of the time they don't even rent them. Now, oftentimes they do for income and cash flow, but depending on HOAs and CC&R restrictions and these kinds of things, you can't always do that. So that's a factor. And so that's why you want diversification and diversity within the asset class, because you limit downside risk, changes to, say, HOA restrictions or minimum rental requirement periods. Maybe something moves from a daily to a 30-day. And I've actually come across a lot of people like this. For example, I know several classic cases of this, I'll say, where wealthy individuals, say, have saved their entire life and they finally land like this condo that they love. It's their vacation home of their dream. They land it under the guise that they can rent it daily. And they're not going to live there full time because their other home, let's say, is out in Seattle. They've worked their whole life. So they, cough up $1.5 million, they land their dream home, and then 6 months later, the HOA votes to restrict daily rental access to monthly. The price of their single unit residence collapses, okay, because they can no longer generate daily cash flow rents, and they can now only minimum rent, say, their home for 6 months. So there's an immediate loss in value. Now, that doesn't happen, extremely often, but it does happen. And in changing market conditions, this is why market knowledge is also very important. You always want to work with people that are experts in your very specific market niche. So, for example, myself and my team, I know Maui better than anyone in the world. I've been here 3 generations. This is where my whole family has lived. We know South Maui probably the best. I mean, this is where we've got like a corner on the market. We also know West Maui extremely well. Okay, we know where things are developing. Okay, and we also know some of the internal politics that a lot of people don't know. And there's a lot of internal politics, by the way, depending on which market you're in. So you always want to go with the experts. You want to go with people that are experienced, that have local market knowledge, okay, and that can provide access. And this goes for real estate or any other investment class in the world, or any other idea or educational event that you might attend or anything like that. So those are 3 major components. And let's review that again, okay? And you help me shout it out. Liquidity, access fractionally to an asset class you never could buy before. You were never able to buy a $15 million home fractional, but you can now with us. Okay, that's never happened before. And in addition to that, my third point, talking about that market expertise, etc. Now I'm going to go to more talking points, but I spent most of the kind of after brunch afternoon here responding to emails, getting back in touch with a lot of you, and also welcome everybody onboarding to the project. I have a few of you actually popping in next week. And I guess I'll just say you publicly, Brad Pitt's coming into town, which I'm very excited about. He is one of our first investors, not the celebrity. This is the real Brad Pitt. He's much cooler, okay, than Brad Pitt, the celebrity, and I like him better. But he's coming into town. And I have several other individuals on arrival this week. Hopefully some of them may or may not want to come on camera, but if they do, I'd love to put them on and chat about what we're doing and what their experience has been working with myself and my team so far. And by the way, all these cool ecosystem perks, I have a badass, completely loaded Jeep showing up, picking up Brad and his entire family as well, because that's just how we roll here in Maui. I mean, we're really creating this exclusive access community that's democratizing everything we're doing, that not only is doing that, but is also building the inroads of an amazing freedom, liberty-minded experience and community. So very, very cool. So I can answer questions about that. And I also want to follow up, and I talked about this yesterday in one of my live streams. So the regulatory moves coming will benefit key assets in the blockchain space. And those assets that will benefit, in my opinion, will not only be Island Project and what we're doing in the real estate space, but will benefit Bitcoin and benefit Ethereum and will benefit XRP, some of the principal stores of value, as regulators determine winners and losers. See, this is what they're going to do. And we plan on profiting immensely from these regulatory moves, by the way, because and this is what a lot of people don't understand that are down and they don't like Bitcoin for whatever reason, which is fine. You don't have to. You're just wrong about it, and you'll watch Bitcoin soar to new levels and new highs in your lifetime, and you'll tell your friends how it was obvious even though you didn't get in. You know, kind of like a lot of people I know never got into Amazon stock, Google stock, or Apple. They just missed it completely because they said they didn't understand it, right? And a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin, so they like to talk down on it, but they're wrong about it. Okay, and you're going to watch, it's just going to be like a bird with its wings sailing up into the clouds, and you're just going to sit on the side. A lot of people do this. It's crazy to me. But again, criticism and cynicism, I've never met a wealthy critic or cynic. Critical thinking is of value, okay? But I've never met a successful critic or cynic when that's all they do. James says, time to power up. Also, another great opportunity for you guys is I did open up our private event seating. Okay, it's limited to the number of seats at islandprojectclub.com. Private event. This is going to include everything that we're doing, give you access to this adventure that is Island Project. I'm going to be doing events, live streams, and showing you behind the scenes how I'm structuring these deals, okay, along with my team. And you'll be working with all of us and seeing how all of this rolls out, okay, over the next 6 to 12 months. That's not an investment offer, by the way. That's something different from my private placement, which is not available to the public. But it's a great way for a lot of you to get in, and there's a link below for those of you that said, Christopher, I wanted to get in, but I only have $1,000. I only have $2,000. How can I participate? And the other cool thing is for the first 25 of you, it also includes a private consult with yours truly, of which I'm already almost booked up. I only have 2 slots left. So for whoever of you are the next 2, that'll lock and load you for a 15, 30-minute consult based on availability. So I'm excited about that. Welcome everybody aboard because it's going to be an incredible adventure as we scale this out. So another major thing that is happening in this asset class, which I think is cool, is it's democratizing everybody's ability to get into the best of breed asset class. And I talk about this a lot. You know, it used to be that unless your last name was a very wealthy elite name, or you had money already, or a direct contact at one of the largest Wall Street banks. And I know this from experience, so I'll even, explain this from experience. And I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not a broker. Okay, but one of my first jobs coming out of college was working for Merrill Lynch. I graduated top of my class. I was the highest paid earner at our firm, okay, where I landed my first job. And by the way, I was on the phones all the time. But my point is, and I learned a lot. It was really kind of like my Harvard MBA, to be honest, the on-the-ground experience. In fact, I cold called my first internship into Merrill Lynch into the Beverly Hills office. Right near Pico and Beverly Drive. I lived in Beverly Hills when I was like 20. And I remember I was in between George Washington University and going out to Arizona State. And I'm from California, but on the southern SoCal area. And I was like, man, I really want a job. So I'm like, I'm going to get myself a job. So I started cold calling randomly into the Beverly Hills penthouse office of the super high net worth client department. Okay, and I actually pretty much broke down the door, and they hired me because they were like, this guy, he's just in our face all the time. And I told, I called him and told him I'm the best in the world. You got to hire me. I'm gonna just dominate. And I did. We landed some major deals as a part of that private client wealth group. One of them that I had a notch on my belt for was breaking into the Screen Actors Guild, actually. And I remember the partners that had hired me, actually 2 women. They were really great people, by the way. They took the risk on me. And they asked me, they took me out to lunch and we had beers after. They're like, how did you get in there? How did you get into the Screen Actors Guild? Like, what did you do? And I just bluntly told them, I don't know, man. I called and asked them. And I think when we started to think about it, and I learned this as a young kid, the reason I got in and no one else did is because I was the only one that called. All the other young kids that were working for some of the other partners at the firm were only calling like small, medium businesses because they felt more comfortable with it, thought that was an easier target, right, to get that account. And I was the only maniac beating down the doors of Hollywood that actually had the balls to call the Screen Actors Guild. So like no one had called them. So when I called, it was refreshing. We actually booked an appointment and we closed the deal. And our team, I'm sure they have this legacy asset to this day, to a certain extent at least, unless it's changed hands to other partners or something, managed much of the retirement accounts. I've never told this story before. Even after I departed and then went on to go complete my education in finance. And then I later went back to work for Merrill Lynch. It was basically my first job out of college. And so I'm bringing this up kind of like for motivation. You got to ask for what you want. Like I've said this before, but if I don't know you, I can't cash flow you. There's a link below. If you pre-order big and get in and you register, we'll chat. Like again, people think they can't get ahead in life. That's their problem. They're not asking for what they want. I mean, you see a hot chick at the bar or at your church, if you don't go up to her and ask her what her name is, you're going to miss out on the opportunity. It's as simple as that. And the truth is, most of you aren't asking for what you want. So hopefully this is not too windy today. Is it too windy? Let me know and I'll switch locations. But let's go back to why this asset class is so incredibly, flagrantly valuable, okay? And you're going to see an explosion in the next few months. And I'll be taking you, privately on a ride with me, and I'll be doing some public stuff too. Showing you this experience, and it's gonna be a lot of fun just on properties and kind of. I've got a whole idea, right, of how we're gonna do this. This is sick. It's gonna be the sickest thing we've ever worked on. It's like riding a big wave. Big wave surfers. You need the big cojones, right? There's that slogan Eddie would go, right? Eddie, the famous surfer. I don't know a ton about him, but I know, for example, there's a couple documentaries, but he died riding one of the big waves. People always say, well, Eddie would have gone, man. Eddie was a baller. So I can go to some questions, and then I'm going to hit a couple other bullet points. Links up here and down here. You can join, execute on. Ask for what you want in life, ladies and gentlemen, to get ahead. It's as simple as that, or don't. Let some other person do it. That's why you always see that guy with the supermodel girlfriend and you're like, dude, how did that guy get her? He was the only one that asked, bro. All the other guys were like, hanging out on like wallflowers, right? Scared of their own shadow. And it was that one dude who just wasn't even thinking. He was like, hey, what's your name? Can I get you a beer? And he wins every single time. You'll notice this about very wealthy, successful people. Most of the time they don't even have college degrees. Secondly, they're almost like all entrepreneurs. 3, they're commonly misunderstood and considered eccentric. Oh, he's kind of crazy, which is exactly why they're successful, because they're thinking outside of the box and they're disrupting, a market. And by the way, the people that aren't keeping up, many of you business owners, maybe you're a little bit more conservative in your approach to life, which is super cool. There's great traits and things that we should, do. Like, for example, always be a good steward over your budget and your money and management of your family, and all these kinds of things in your relationships. But a lot of people are so conservative, they allow new market participants to eat away at them, and then they become irrelevant. So for example, people in the real estate industry that aren't learning what I'm sharing with you to a certain little extent here today, another reason to join us in our group, because there's tremendous value in that, they're going to have their businesses just eaten at, and they're going to get crushed in the coming months. Just like the internet crushed mom and pop businesses, and everybody that was the first mover in e-commerce and social media dominated. Okay, same thing is happening. Now, we've also had some significant news, which I've shared. There's companies like Flow, and the CEO of WeWork just had $200 to $300 million injected into his real estate company, which also plans on disrupting the market, the traditional market. And that was a big announcement that I'm familiar with and have been up to speed with. Also, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, his company, which Tom Brady, the famous football player, who I don't know if he's come back yet. I don't follow football much, but isn't there like a hubbub around like he's like missing right now or something, or having personal issues? I don't know. I like Tom Brady, by the way, because he's a real winner. But he's a stakeholder and owner, along with supermodel wife Giselle, in FTX. Their revenues were up 1,000% in the last reporting period. Did a 10x. That's how much volume is going on in the cryptocurrency space, and has been going on. I think that was coming from the bull market. So we're waiting to see, how this maps out comparatively to other platforms, brokerages like Coinbase. Now, Sam has actually gone out and he's been buying like crazy a lot of these distressed assets. He's an extremely smart investor. So he pinned a deal with BlockFi that basically, I think, wipes out all of the initial shareholder equity and gives him an option, because he gave them a lifeline of a loan. He made an offer for Voyager. They backed out because they said it was too lowball. And I believe he's also in negotiations, or has successfully bought the other crypto exchange, BitThumb. Where are they out of again? Maybe some of you know. I think it's in Korea, but I could be wrong about that. So the point is, you have this massive, massive disruptive event. So let's get back to like some fundamentals again here for a minute. We talked about liquidity, real ownership of an asset that you could have never owned before. Let's talk about lending and finance and debt. Island Project has no debt, okay? And I constructed it that way for a reason, so that there is no leverage risk. There is no possibility that in a fiat US debt collapse, which I'm expecting here in the United States, because they've trashed our currency and they've mismanaged everything so poorly through egregious, horrible bailouts of the too big to fails, PPPs, and everything else, that I'm planning for that. And so one of the reasons why I did that as a good steward, okay, as a part of our project build, I wanted to completely take that risk off the table for peace of mind, for my own peace of mind, so that we know and our community knows everything that we own has no debt, none. Now, people also commonly ask me, they're like, well, Christopher, well then, how could something like this, as you always famously say, those are for cadets, those are for cadets, how could that happen? Well, the leverage point comes from the blockchain itself. See, that's where the leverage comes from. And I have not revealed details to the public, and I'm not going to reveal details to the public, because I'm going to enrich my private founders first before the public launch. And I'm going to educate only our small groups and people participating at my private events and courses like islandprojectclub.com. I'm telling them first, so that they're ahead of as early birds. See, I'm rewarding them for taking action in their lives and being the believers, okay, in what we're doing, and putting their faith and stewardship, etc., and trust in us. So in addition to that, I would say the fifth point would be the ability to turnkey a new technology that no one else in the world can do. So for example, I hired my father. I put him in charge of part of our portfolio build, and his expertise, not just in Maui, but also in Oahu, okay? And I have a few others I'll be introducing you to as well that I'm in the process and have hired as part of Island Project and our team. And I am going to be doing some more hiring, actually, probably sooner rather than later, as we really start ramping up over the next 6 to 12 months. So expertise and a team and the ability to turnkey that, manage that on your behalf, distribute cash flows. Again, if I don't know you, I can't flow you, right? Large capital gains potential. So for example, let's say, our original portfolio here, we're just using examples, it's $30 million. 5 years from now, that portfolio builds worth 100. That portfolio, by the way, is also extremely valuable, okay, to outside investors, right? It's a diversified cash flow investment of the best of breed asset class in a very strategic area, of which there's extreme limited supply of ocean beachfront. This is why the elites and the rich and the billionaires buy those properties for $30 million a pop, because you can't get them anywhere else. I mean, condos are a dime a dozen in middle America. Single family homes, a dime a dozen. Those prices, expect them to go down, especially if interest rates go up. But in reality, a lot of these higher end properties, most of them at least, are actually all cash buyers, not financed at all. So debt and the cost of debt does not impact, the richest people in America or around the world that actually buy and have access to these types of properties and portfolio assets, etc. So it's a little windy out today, as you see my camera blowing around. These are some fundamental educational topics that I just had on my mind that I thought I would kind of explain in a little bit more detail for those of you that have had these questions. I mean, I was responding to probably 20, 30 emails earlier today that I just sent out, and those were like some of the common FAQs. What else? Hey, Hammerdown, what's up? Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ. By the way, are you guys enjoying the sunset videos that I put out, like beach videos? I think they're kind of cool. I don't really do much with them, but it kind of gives you like a show, shows you how beautiful it is here, kind of experience nature. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so the very wealthy diversify. They buy $20 million homes. You're absolutely right, because it's safer than a bank. So you bring up a great point. You know what the number one reason for Island Project is to get cash out of the bank. And that's actually the number one reason why our members participate in the project. Because the whole goal is, if you've lost faith in the system, you've lost faith that a bank can protect your money, the first thing you want to do, especially with inflation, when you get zero at a bank, you get nothing at a bank, 0%. Okay? I mean, they'll charge you 25% on your APY on your credit card, but if you deposit your money, you'll get nothing. So the primary, even, driver that I've seen, just even from a very real, emotional, I mean, this is why I got into crypto and real estate over the last few years, is just, we don't trust the banks. We got to get out, right? We'd rather have our money collectively in a hard, real asset with no debt. So there's no mortgage risk. There's no bank leverage risk. And I'm telling you guys, you're hearing it here this first. A lot of these other guys, although I think they're great at what they do, the Grant Cardones of the world, in a debt collapse, many of those projects will go bankrupt because they're super leveraged. Now that leverage works great in a rising economy with consistent growth rates when the stock market always goes up, yada, yada, yada. But in a debt drawdown, okay, many of those other projects and deals, they won't survive. And this is why Celsius went bankrupt. Debt and leverage. This is why Voyager went bankrupt. Debt and leverage. This is why you're seeing all these problems, okay, in the general marketplace, and we're seeing it in blockchain. It's because people are getting margin called, which is another reason why we have no debt in our project, which again is good stewards of just doing the right thing. I mean, that makes sense to me. Does it not make sense to you? And we also, as a benefit of that, insure the project assets, and then are offering the leverage point, that 1000x potential vehicle, okay, in the blockchain itself. So that's really what's exciting about it. Getting out of cash because cash is trash, getting out of dollars because they pay you zero. And especially people ask me, well, Christopher, what's going to happen with the CBDCs? Well, you'll be lucky to be in a real hard asset like Island Project when the CBDCs are declared. You understand that, right? Because what they're going to do is they're going to have some kind of, they're going to say fiat will, what's the word that they'll use with the CBDCs? They'll exchange fiat for the CBDC. They're going to do something along those lines, okay? But they're not going to be able to touch the already deposited, I would say, hard money and real assets that you own. Okay, that's another reason why real estate keeps going up, is because the real super elite that actually know what's going on are running from the banks. Now, we're also seeing this all over the world. For example, the wealthy Chinese buy into New York, Manhattan skyscrapers and then never live there because it's safer to park their money outside of the system. Same thing for Americans now, because our Federal Reserve is so grossly, in my opinion, mismanaged monetary fiscal policy. Now we're living through a hyperinflationary economic collapse. As your own good steward, you tuning in, the best thing you can do is get into something that's outside of that. Okay, so that you remove that risk, or at least diversify a little bit. I mean, even if you don't believe that there's going to be some large economic financial collapse, I would at least take a small percentage of, what you're doing, so to speak, and buy a little real estate and buy the best asset class in the world. Just reading some of your comments here. Yeah, what questions do you have for me? Can be about anything, even what's going on in the news. There wasn't much in the news today, and that's typical of Saturdays. There's never anything in the news. See, the news is manufactured by the media, okay? And they all take a break on Saturday. That's why no news comes out on Saturday. Saturday is the most boring day of the week because they're not manufacturing news on Saturday. They start manufacturing again towards the end of the afternoons on Sunday. You'll notice that. There'll be new headlines breaking all over the world tomorrow. Creatine Poppy says Diamond Nards. Have I ever tried to become a day trader? Not really, to be honest. I do some swing trading when I see opportunities. And so I'll swing trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins and these kinds of things if something's very obvious to me. But in reality, I'm a long-term investor. And I focus on my investments personally on creating cash flows and scalability. Another thing that I always teach at school, for example, BitcoinRich.com, and my private group now that we just launched, IslandProjectClub.com, which is just a few seats left. I teach about cash flows because what you'll find is that even if you own an asset, say land, real estate, Bitcoin, you have an event like the last couple of years, or let's say your primary business doesn't work out, you have to sell your valuable assets. You can't hold on to them. And see, this is why cash flows, I would argue, are almost more important than the underlying value of your net worth and asset base. You need both. And your underlying asset investment base, also, its primary mission should be to generate cash flows and capital gains. And some of it should be there, maybe in a more high-risk fashion to maybe take advantage of huge disruptive opportunities like blockchain, et cetera, which is why I would say it's completely not prudent to not have at least 5-10% of your net worth in blockchain, right? This is what makes Island Project so unique, because real estate is something that's simple, that people understand. It's a hard asset, but then it's also giving you the upside potential of the blockchain component that no one else in the world is doing. So that's really cool, and that's simple, and it makes sense. And the other problem is, because there's a lot of technical expertise needed in a disruptive cowboy environment like blockchain, not everybody has the time, energy to learn it, to understand it, and to use it. Eventually after this asset class, 10, 100x's, whatever it does, 1,000x's, depending on which asset it's in, that'll be when it's easy to use and that grandmas can use it, but they'll be getting it at the top. You see what I'm saying? And nothing against grandmas. I got a lot of you amazing grandmas at school. But I'm just making the point out, by the time it's easy and obvious to you, you've already missed out on all the gains. And that's always how it works. I mean, like, look at Warren Buffett. Buffett's got a lot of money, so he doesn't have to invest in a startup. He just waits for something to become a monopoly and obvious. And in between licking his ice cream cones and, sipping his Coke, which is terrible for you, by the way. I don't even know how he's still around when he has that many colas all the time. He'll buy Apple after it's already worth $1 trillion. But see, he's got so many billions of dollars, he doesn't need to make big returns. He just buys like safe bets. And then he'll come in and kind of restructure a company. Like, isn't he taking like 50% of Occidental Petroleum or something I read recently? Yeah, I'm holding all my positions, hammer down. And I buy more as much as I can with whatever free cash flow I have each month. And I stick to my game plan. I build a portfolio, which is what I teach at school. We don't use leverage. First video, I tell people don't use leverage and to diversify. Not financial advice. I tell you to build a portfolio where you have an asset base of what they're going to approve of with the CBDC launch. And then you put the other high risk guys down here and you hold all of them. You only need one position to 1000x to change your entire life, ladies and gentlemen. 1000x on $1,000 is $1 million. Where else in the world can you get that kind of opportunity or potential cash flow base? You can't. So, what's up, KJ Bible Study 2? Greg says he likes Crown and Coke better. Yeah, I used to drink that when I was younger, but then I realized it was terrible for me. Oh, thank you, William. Well, I do try to entertain you guys. I mean, I don't think you guys would watch if I wasn't entertaining you either. Could you imagine if I was just boring? That would suck. No one would watch that. So, yeah, you've got to be, hey, Mari, he says he drinks margaritas with a fresh lime. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man? Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a nice backyard. Got a nice pool in it. Nice view of the ocean. You can see Molokini. Drop dead gorgeous views. Every part of the house has direct views of the other islands. We get magnificent sunsets, although I kind of have a dead little palm tree there. I don't know what's wrong with him. He just sprouting the one branch. Come on, buddy, sprout it. Sprout the diamond nuts, tree. Come on, Pommy. Sprout the second diamond nut. Yeah, he's having trouble. Long Beach Island here. Oh yeah, I did see some guy down at the store the other day. He's walking around with his girlfriend, and he had a T-shirt on called "Socialism Distancing." I thought that was hilarious. I was like, this dude is my new best friend. I almost shouted out the window, but thought I would have scared the hell out of him. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, my wife doesn't like to go on live stream. She doesn't like to be on social media. Not everybody's like that. I don't blame her. I mean, privacy, is an important thing. Hey, Mr. Coin, what's up? Oh, yeah, I like this shirt. It's one of my favorites. No, I'd pay yourself first before you pay off debt. Pay yourself first, man. What you're going to pay the man first? Does that make any sense? No, dude, you invest first. You invest in yourself first. You invest in cash flows. You always pay yourself first. Pay them last. Now, I'm not saying don't get out of debt, but I'm saying you always pay yourself first. Take, something off the top and you get paid, bro. Why else do you work? And then, pay the man later. Plus, they're probably going to reset all the debt anyways. Let them default on it. Joe Biden just, erased billions of dollars in student loan debt. Who's to say he won't do that with mortgages? By the way, he did do that, just not for the American people. He did it for the too big to fail banks. They were allowed to write down that mortgage debt to zero. Just a free hall pass. Just like the PPPs. And I tell you guys, Reese Witherspoon, Khloe Kardashian, and Nancy Pelosi's husbands got free money with the PPPs. Millions. Didn't cost them a thing, man. They don't even have to pay it back. Those are facts, bro. Those were facts. This is how it works, man. So you don't pay the man first. You get paid because you're the freaking man. I ain't know you. I can't cash flow you. You cash flow first, man. So yeah, you don't want to be in debt, okay? But some debt can be good if it's debt that leverages good business assets. Give me a like, guys. Give me a like. I only see 125 likes. That's not enough. We need to get up to 1K, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so what else can I tell you? I mean, I hit some good bullet points in the beginning of the broadcast. You can always rewind. Just critical thinking points, topical points of how disruptive real estate's going to be with the blockchain itself, what we're doing, what makes it so unique. So, I mean, my other follow-up point is you're going to see tokenization of real estate across the board, and you're going to see that commodified, turn into a commodity, but it's not highly specialized like what we're doing. I mean, I don't know about you guys, it sounds extremely boring buying middle-class homes in the middle of nowhere through Jeff Bezos, okay, and buying $100 of that. I mean, what does that get you? Nothing. What we're selling is sexy. Beach, oceanfront homes, a community tokenized on the blockchain, replicating worldwide, liberty and freedom, badass patriots all around the world, people that want to 1000x themselves, small onboard communities, private groups, live streams, videos, culture, lifestyle. I mean, I don't know, that's important to me. Man, life's short. I don't want to be bored out of my mind. I want to actually have some fun around here. So, I mean, that's another reason I'm on board what we're doing, is just have a good time. Why would you not have a good time? Life is passing us by. Who knows, man? What could happen tomorrow? I've told you this story. I remember when my dad was in Oahu and they had the nuke alert, texted them. They're like, get underground now. This is an emergency. Run for your life. And I remember my dad just sent me a picture. He was like, all right, son, I'm enjoying the view. He had like a Mai Tai in his hand. And my dad rarely drinks, but he was just like, all right, if this is it, I'm going to watch the biggest sunset of a lifetime. Who knows what happens tomorrow, man? Well, there actually is, Yog, I don't know the full name there, a cool parable in the Bible. It says something along the lines where I think it's a fisherman. He's relaxing on the beach. And maybe it's not in the Bible, but it's a parable I've heard. And a businessman's there, and he's like, why are you relaxing? You could be out there back on your fishing boat, making more money, and then you could have a really good retirement like me. And the fisherman's like, well, why would I want to do that? Well, he's like, well, if you do that, then you can sit here and relax on the beach. But you see what I'm saying? The guy was already relaxing on the beach. He's like, why would I go do more? I'm already relaxing on the beach, dude, just like you. So, yeah, I mean, you have to take money and all that stuff with a grain of salt. Honestly, I would say Island Project's just a massive lifestyle enhancement for all of you guys tuning in to actually get involved. It's a cool subculture. I mean, when I started alternative media television years ago, that's a subculture of like minds of people that wanted the truth. And so we built that out along with you. God bless all of you for 15 years or whatever it is. And now we're building a new subculture because the world demands it. Bottom line is there's billions of dollars, trillions of dollars in the world right now chasing freedom. That's where I'm putting my money. I want to be free, baby. So I'm poured into Island Project, man. Poured into what we're doing. What else are you going to do with it? Give it to Jeff Bezos? People say that all the time, like, Christopher, how dare you charge for these really lucrative asset classes and all this experience and amazing education that might help me make money? Well, why do you guys give so much money to Jeff Bezos then, or Nike, or all these other companies? No one complains about that, and they don't even do anything for you. I mean, honestly, it's just funny to me. See, people have been programmed and brainwashed for a very long time where they follow orders. I said this on Twitter the other day. I mean, who put these people in charge anyway? Have you ever thought about that? How come you ain't in charge? Why are certain people in charge and get to tell you what to do, but you can't tell them what to do? Why? I remember being in school, because I did go to public and private school, and I used to be sitting there, and I'd be like, these people are idiots. I could do this 20 times better than all these people here. And so I did, quite frankly. I took some time off in between college before I ended up graduating, top of my class. I did do that. But I took some time off and I started just cold calling my butt in to Merrill Lynch without even a college degree, and they hired me because I knew I could do it better than all the idiots hanging around listening to the professors that were all broke. All the professors I was listening to were broke as crap. Like, why the hell am I listening to you? You're broke. Like, I'm in business school and you're broke? There was actually only one dude that was wealthy. He was a wealthy investor. My wife and I both took the course. I actually met her in the course. 1000X of my wife, baby, even back in college. And yeah, I remember, I forget his name, might come to me at some moment, but he was like the only independently wealthy instructor. And when we came to class, there wasn't even an itinerary. He would just sit there, and he was always dressed in a suit. He would sit there, and he would just like hang out with his coffee, right? And he would just not say anything. And he'd just be like, so what do you guys want to know? And we just like ask him questions. I was like, well, how did you make your first, real estate deal? And he would like tell me about it. And I'd write it down. And we'd ask him like, well, how did you get debt on it? Like what? We would just ask him questions like it was weird. It was like bizarre. It was like he was the best teacher though. I learned more from him. And then right before he had to put out the exam, he'd be like, all right, guys, we got to do a stupid exam on Friday. Because, the academics or whatever in the office are forcing us to. All right, I'm just going to give you guys all the answers today. And he would literally just spend 10 minutes giving us all the answers, and then we'd take the test on Friday. That was the best teacher I ever had. I learned more from him. And he was the only guy with money. He's got to be super wealthy now, actually, because he was buying Scottsdale real estate like 40 years ago, dude. Like probably before I was born. I know he's on a yacht for sure. Should call him up, man. Get him on Board Island project, man. So yeah, he was cool. He was cool, dude. I liked him. You want to invest in bug farming? Well, I'll tell you this, bro. I will not be your first customer. There's no way in hell I'm ever eating bugs. Nice out today, isn't it? Yeah, do me a favor, like this video, share it. I like doing specialized content like this, focusing on a specific topic. I'm looking at some comments right now. A lot of people tell you to get your side hustle on. There's nothing wrong with that, if it's a hobby. But that doesn't really get you ahead in life. You got to go all in. Like if you got a business idea, you got to be all in, right? It's like if you're trying to get the girl, you got to be all in. If you're trying to do something big, you got to be all in. If you're an athlete, do you like half seize it? Like let's say you're getting up to the plate and you're like, all right, it's the World Series. Bottom of the ninth, we're down by 2, bases loaded. Are you like, oh, I'm just gonna like half try? Failure, guaranteed failure. So many people are like that too, like, oh, I'm just gonna like not really try that much. I'm gonna just put my little pinky toe into the water because I'm scared. Yeah, you're an immediate failure, dude. Seriously, that's a hard truth. If you want to get ahead, you got to go all in on yourself. I've said this a million times, but if you're not willing to invest in yourself, like click the link below, improve your life, or do anything, even if it's something else, and you're not going to get ahead because you're not even willing to invest in yourself. If you're not willing to invest big on yourself, you'll never land the big deal. You'll never get the big interview. You'll never get the big raise. You'll never get the hot girlfriend, and you'll never get ahead in life and get where you want to be. And who's ever told you that life is fair? Nothing about life is fair. Real educators should just be real with their students. Like when I was in finance class, they should have told me everything was a fraud. And that the Federal Reserve manipulates the assets across our markets and then gives it to the people that work on Wall Street. That's the truth. Cash flow statements, balance sheets, they don't even matter, dude. That's why you have all these tech companies and they're hot air. Okay, and they go up to $1 trillion. They don't even make any money. Tesla didn't make any money for years. And it's rising, across the board. because it's not fair, right? This is how it works. Learn how to play the game. Don't be in the game. Get out of it. Learn how to play the game. It's like playing poker, sitting at the table in Vegas. Okay, the casino's got it rigged, dude. You got to be smarter than the casino. It's a game. It's called the game of life. It ain't fair. That's why I mentioned to you, all these celebrities and politicians took out PPPs, and it's just free money. They didn't even have to pay it back. Did you get that? No, because it's not fair, dude. Nothing about life's fair, but they try to convince you that there's order. Oh yeah, just do what you're told. I mean, if you really want to know the honest truth, these people think of you as a lower class. It's disgusting. I hear this in the background all the time in these wealthy areas. They think of a lot of people as lower classes. Still to this day. It's pathetic and it's disgusting. And it pisses me off. But that's how it is. How about them apples, dude? So again, the people that life ain't fair. You look at it from a biblical spiritual perspective too. It's a fallen world. There's also some great verses, I think in the book of Proverbs, it talks about only give me enough that I need for today. Don't give me too much, right? Because if I have too much, and if I have too much wealth, then I will, basically not know you anymore, Lord. I'll go against you because I'll be too distracted. And if you gave me too little, or give me too little, then I'll go out there and maybe I'll have to do something bad to put a loaf of bread on the table or something like that. And there's a parable in the Bible. Some of you may know it better than me. I can't recite it direct. But basically it says, just give me enough. Just give me my daily bread. Don't give me too much. Don't give me too little. Just give me what I need so that I can obey you. I think that's beautiful. I think that's incredible, actually. All right, 57 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'll do a sermon tomorrow. Always take the days off on Sunday. So I'll do something in regard to that, which I love doing. Chairs in the pool, brah. Brah, come on, brah. Chairs in the pool. If you give me more likes, I'll take a dunk. Take a dunk? You did, Dominic? I love that, bro. Dominic said he doubled down on everything Diamond Nuts today. That's sick. Well, dude, you can, man. You just got to become a part of Island Project, dude. I can't do it for you. I mean, that's the other thing, too, is just plan on having a cool time. Whether or not you're just at Island Project Club, going along for the ride with all of our content, live streams, shows, private invites, hook you up with the Jeeps, all that kind of stuff, or you're getting involved. Again, man, I've had dozens and dozens of people here just the last couple weeks flying into Maui, dude, because it's a good time, man. We're having a good time. I mean, life's too short not to have a good time. I mean, we're bridging the barrier. It's fun for me too, I've been online for so many years, but it's fun to hang out with people, actually, sometimes. See, I'm here to entertain you guys as well. All right, someone says, tell us more about Jesus. Well, I'm in comedy mode right now, so it seems like a strange transition. But, Jesus is king, man. There's nothing else here. We live in a fallen world, ladies and gentlemen. And it's your duty to spread the good truth and the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is the number one thing we could do just to save people. I'll tell you, I've had some great friends, mentors, brothers, sisters in Christ. I'll shout out one of my brothers back in California, Aaron. And he got me my first Bible years ago. He's like, hey, Christopher, I'm going to buy this for you. A beautiful Bible, New King James Version. And honestly, sat for years collecting dust. And then I finally opened it up and it changed my entire life. I actually gave the same one to my brother when he was alive. I thought that was pretty cool. You see, I would think about that too when you are, as a Christian, for you believers out there, when you're paying stuff forward, sometimes you don't get an instantaneous reward, but you made a difference. It might just take years for it to happen. Oh, thanks, man. I like this shirt. Yeah, it's kind of stretchy. Hey, Austin. I don't know. I thought I saw my son over there. USA, 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 USA. And by the way, Island Project's calling all patriots, ladies and gentlemen. Patriots, dude. Calling all the good old boys out of Texas. Right? Want to see you out here. Also, Idaho. We've got Wyoming, Montana. My neighbors are actually from Montana out here. We have a lot of, so I'll tell you about demographics in Maui. We have a lot of people from the Pacific Northwest, a lot of people from, California, Canadians, a lot of Canadians. Who else? Yeah, we get people from all walks of life, but a lot of people from the Pacific Northwest for whatever reason, probably because it's just an easy flight. Arizona too, I actually see quite a few people from Arizona as well. Hey Tony, what's up, man? What part of Texas? The Island Project yacht is coming. It's obviously not the first acquisition, but it is coming. Island Project sailboat, Island Project yacht, of which all of our members will get first access to, obviously. We'll do some parties on it. Already know where it's going to be. Gonna put it out over Lahaina side. It's gonna be pretty sick. I need to take some sailing lessons though. Oh, Dallas. I've actually never been to Dallas. I've been to Austin. I hear I'd like Dallas better though, from what people tell me. The Florida project, yeah, I'll probably look at that as a location. It's kind of an obvious location, but I think there's some other interesting areas to go, honestly, that people are overlooking right now. Tony says Houston. I got a lot of friends. I've been to Houston. Yeah, I've been to Houston as well. It's cool. Funny though, this shirt, it's like Tommy Boy now because it's like really stuck everywhere. Like I could not take this shirt off if I tried. Yeah, Tommy Boy the movie was the best, wasn't it? Remember when he sees the hot chick and he's like, "Excuse me, madam, do you know where the gym is?" He was hilarious. I love his skit on SNL about the guy in the van down by the river. There's a meme on that too. It's like now Americans are like so broke because of the Federal Reserve and all the crap that they've done to all of us, that it's like living in a van down by the river is like something people are seeking. They're like, I can't wait for the van down by the river. I hope I get into a tiny home. Nothing against that lifestyle, because that's cool with me. Like I'd be fine, honestly, living in a camper myself, because I really don't care. But and that's cool. But it's hilarious to me that used to be a meme of what it meant to be unsuccessful. Now people are looking at it as an option because they can't afford anything. Another reason for Island Project, like, do you know how many people I know can't afford a home? And so they end up never buying, and then asset prices keep skyrocketing and the rents keep going up. That's idiotic. I've even recommended in years past, I'm like, dude, like my friends that live in California or Hawaii, I'm like, dude, if you can't buy here, go buy in like Nevada or something. Buy a house, rent it out, at least you own something. So we solved that problem with Island Project, but it's better because you actually own the best of breed asset class in the world. So I'll give you some details. So for example, this property here is a $5 to $7 million home, and it's tripled in the last 2 to 5 years, I think. That's gnarly, right? And it's going to go much higher. If this house was in California, it'd be like 20 million. Because literally the beach, dude, I can get right, I walk to the beach 1 minute. Commanding views. Can't see it because I'm kind of down here right now, like in the pool. But that's how crazy it is. And it's going to get crazier. That's why I call it Maui Boo. Maui Boo. We've gotten in early. And everyone calling for a real estate crash, bring it, bro. That means we'll buy cheaper as we continue to dollar cost average our portfolio build. That's great. Like, please, can the prices come down? Because they're not coming down. Okay, hold on. I'll be back here in a minute. No, we don't pee in the pool. Yeah, the pool used to be salt water, but they changed it to chlorine recently, and I don't like that as much. Yeah, hey Sharon, I love you too. I love you too. Yeah, I've had a lot of great on the phone conversations with you guys too. Still have a few to make. And by the way, just another reminder, islandprojectclub.com. Not only do you get all the access to Island Project, how we're building it on the ground, all the cool stuff we're doing, private events, live streams, teaching, coaching, you know, how I'm doing all this stuff. You also get a 15, 30-minute phone call with me. 1,000 freaking X, baby. Ask me anything for the first 25. I've only got a few spots left, though. So whoever comes in sequence in that order, you'll get locked in today. Link up here or down here. islandprojectclub.com. Also, too, we do have a lot of inquiries to get back to. I was checking my email box, and there was probably, you know, I just forwarded this to the rest of my team, but I had like at least 150 people inquiring just within the last day or two. So we are working on that. I just spent 3 hours, honestly, responding to a lot of people. So I do what I can because I got to oversee everything and then filter it out to everyone. I got my dad working overtime. My dad's like, man, I didn't realize I'd be working this hard. I'm like, get used to it. See, my dad put my butt to work all those years. Now I'm putting him to work. I'm like, come on, Dad, you're not retiring, bro. I'm putting your butt to work. Got work to do. Building the digital Noah's Ark. Oh yeah, I'm gonna work him into the ground now. My dad's in good shape, man. He can handle it. kind of hard holding the camera at the same time. Oh yeah, this is kind of an interesting story, but like, we get deer in Maui. There's like tons of access deer. This was like a month ago when my brother's wife was in town, and we heard this like crazy noise, like like that. Like it literally sounded like that. It sounded like someone was dying. I'm like, it was at night too, and we're like, what's going on here? And it was kind of crazy. I'm like, what is this, man? Like a drug addict or something? Like trying to break it or something? Like, what's going on? Yeah, it turns out it's just this little baby deer. I go out down there with the flashlight. It's got its head stuck in the gate, and it's just stuck there, you know, screaming for its life. Anyways, it's all good. We got her out. Sawed down part of the gate. She went back. There's tons of deer out here. In fact, there's an overpopulation of deer. So this kind of surprises people, but no joke, almost on a daily occurrence. I've tweeted this stuff before. I've kind of gone out like on deer hunts with you guys. There's like literally 40 deer in my backyard. Like no joke. In Maui. So at least we have a healthy source of protein if the grid goes down. All right, I'll probably close out soon, but I will go to any remaining questions, ladies and gentlemen. Ask me anything. Do you guys like the sunset videos and stuff? Because those are easy for me to do. I thought it was just kind of fun, you know, turn on the camera, show you the view. Yeah, Richard, I think, again, I mean, he's extremely talented and smart. I mean, time will tell the long-term success of his blockchains and projects that he's developing. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know him personally. I'm a fan, sure. And I've invested in a lot of his technology, so I think he's cool. He's flamboyant. We'd probably go good together, bro. We'd hang out with each other out in the UK. Go shopping, Richard. Richard, you want to go shopping with me? Let's do it. No, Richard's a cool guy. I'm just pulling his leg a little bit. Yeah, I still need to do that. Yeah, we haven't done that yet. I'm just too busy. It's hard conducting interviews. Like, a lot of my time is going towards all the private stuff we're doing, which is why you should join, you know, especially for those of you who've been with me forever. It's like, why not level up? Like, you've been here forever. Level up with this next phase. Like, you have to innovate over time, guys. If you don't, things get boring. I mean, even from a business perspective for me, like, I love making videos. I'm always going to make videos, you know, for as long as I'm around. But it's like, you got to level up, scale up, dude. Like, I've already done it, man. I've already made 3,000 videos about liberty and freedom and all that stuff. You guys have been with me for years, dude. Done all those interviews, and I've been on TV and all that kind of, it's cool, but like, you know, you got to keep growing. If you're not growing, you're just old, you're dying. You're not learning anything. It's not fun. It's not exciting. You know, you got to keep growing. So for those of you who've been with me for years, that's why you should sign up, man. Whoa. All right, guys, final questions. Final questions, and we're heading out. Any last requests? Hey, Sharon, God bless you. Yeah, God bless all you guys, too. And just, you know, I hope you have a great day. Realize you can do anything. The only thing stopping you is yourself. It's true. The only thing stopping you is yourself. That's why I told you that story about me cold calling back in the day when I was broke into Merrill Lynch, because, I mean, again, like, make the call. Bet on yourself. Click the link. Go big with the button below. Pre-order. I mean, why would you not do that? Like, people spend money on lottery tickets and go to a casino at the Bellagio and lose all their money at blackjack in like 5 seconds. So, yeah, I love you too, Justin. God bless, man. Anyways, fun doing a video with you guys. I'm going to have to go. Too much to do. And might try to take you guys on a helicopter ride actually pretty soon. I don't know. I was thinking of going today. I'm not really sure though if I'm going to do that. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Maybe I'll live stream it. All right, David. God bless, man. Link down here and up here. And also, too, great resource for you newbies out there. Join us at bitcoinrich.com, too. Tons of amazing content as well. So that's another great place to go as well. Chair in a pool. Chair in a pool. Okay. Love you guys. All right, have a great day. Talk to you soon.